All right, Rob Provencher here talking about marketing. This is the third step in the marketing process. Now, I've already talked about targeting your market, and I've talked about creating your marketing message. These are two very, very important steps. I'll put the links to those down below. They're short videos. Highly recommend you watch them. And I'm going to talk about the third step. Now, this is called media. So there's always three steps to marketing: finding your market, creating a message, an offer, finding a reason why people should come to you versus every other option available to them. And then once you've got those two in place, the third step, which is your media. Media means, how are you going to deliver that message to that market? It's really, really simple. Now, if you're in business or thinking about getting into business, I really, really encourage you to really try hard to understand these concepts, because in them are some fundamental truths that once you understand them and apply them to your industry, and by the way, this goes for any industry. I don't care if you're a plumber, lawyer, butcher, candlestick maker, artist, it doesn't matter. These steps must be followed, and there are no exceptions to the rule. So when we talk about media, and the reason why I'm bringing up the first two steps, well, there's two reasons. One, this is a third step, so it's important to put it in context. But the second and most important reason is what happens, and this happens a lot with professionals, ad agencies, designers, and business owners. They skip the first two messages, and they jump right to media. Now, that's fine if you got lots of money and you just don't mind losing it. It's like playing the stock market. I think Dan Kennedy had the best analogy back in the 90s. He said most marketing is like taking an airplane and flying across your city and just scooping out a bunch, tens of thousands of flyers, hoping that that message lands in the right hands at the right moment. So that's the kind of inefficiency that is very commonplace amongst the industry. So you want to avoid that, and you want to get very responsible. And that's why it's important to follow these three steps. So when you look at the third step, media, which is, again, the delivery mechanism, how do you deliver the message that you have to your target market? I'm going to answer that question right now. There's three levels. The first level is the most powerful and, coincidentally, the cheapest level. It's the most efficient. It takes a while to build it up, and it's the one that requires the most discipline, so to speak, and it is the one that could easily be overlooked and say, well, we're just going to throw money at it and jump to the third step, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So the first step is, or the first level, when we talk about delivering your message to the right target market, the best media is one-on-one. So if you're able to go to your past client face-to-face and say, hey, I got an offer for you. What do you think about this? Now, of course, that's very inefficient, but I have to point it out because it is the most powerful way. First of all, they know you. They're a past client. They're willing to come back to you because most businesses are built on repeat clients. And they trust you. They have all that going on. That ties in with your brand. What is it, and how do people perceive you in your industry, in your city, in your town, in your community? Whether it's global, national, or provincial, or state level, or just in your community. So one-on-one is very, very important, but it's difficult to do because what are you going to do? Go visit them? Well, maybe you can. I know a photographer, her name's Maria. She moved to a new city and developed a client base right away and ran some promotions. And she hand-delivered, I forget exactly what it was, the offer, and she hand-delivered these beautiful bags with these gift certificates, I believe, and a card. She drove to every home. I think there was about 20 of them. Hand-delivered. Imagine how powerful that is. She shows up at their doorstep. This is a lady who cares about the service that she's delivering. Now, she could have spent $20,000 and ran a TV ad, but think about that versus one-on-one. So if you can do one-on-one, and don't poo-poo the idea, because there's often ways and innovative, creative ways that you can deliver your message one-on-one to your client. Okay. Second to that, if you can't deliver one-on-one, the best way, in my opinion, is through mail. It's like one-on-one, it's personal, and people think, mail's dead, email's taken over. No. It's more valuable now than ever because people think that. So imagine you send a thank you card or a nice letter of appreciation, or maybe somebody had dealings with you and they purchased something and you want to send them a free gift tied in with that. Like for me, I would send them possibly a small framed image from their order. Anything of that nature, including newsletters. I really believe in newsletters because they're earthy. You want to avoid newsletters, by the way, that are corporate. You ever get a newsletter from an insurance company or a real estate company, and you can tell it's just a high volume, very bland? Those don't count. You got to create a newsletter that's something like what your grandmother would create, and fold it and put it in a regular envelope and hand write the address with a spit glued stamp. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that kind of a delivery mechanism is very powerful because it's cheap. It's printed and it's stamps. It's cheap. And you're literally having almost the same effect as you would if you showed up in person, but you're showing up through the mailbox. Email is very similar. You could send out an email. I don't think it's as efficient, but it's pretty good. So anytime you can get close to your clients or your prospects and deliver your message one-on-one or close to one-on-one, it's the best, most efficient, and coincidentally, not only is it the most powerful, but it's the cheapest. So you're making more money. All right, the second level, well, I already mentioned the second level, which is mail and email. I put social media in there. I put search engine optimization techniques, so people are looking for lawyers in your city, and they type in law firm in your city, and you show up top 5. That's good, and you want to do that. It's not the only thing you want to do, but it's one of the things you want to do. And then from there, you want to make them an offer to come in closer to you and become a client. That's called ascension marketing. It's step by step by step. Okay, so those are fairly inexpensive ways, and I use social media all the time. I post from my photography studio. Some of you might know me, and you might be actually annoyed at the level of times that I post 3 times a day. I get up in the morning, I get on Hootsuite, which is a social media management software that I pay for every year, and I set up 3 blog posts, 1 in the morning, 1 for early afternoon, 1 for late afternoon. And people like it because it's photography related, and it's always cute pictures of kids and fairies and families and weddings, and I tell little mini stories, very brief. But I want people to be in front. I want to be in front of them all the time, and it's okay on Facebook, my Facebook page, my personal page, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I use them all. Back in the early days, when my wife and I first started running the studio together, we ran displays at the local shopping center. If you're from Sudbury, you know the one I'm talking about, the new Sudbury Shopping Center. They used to get 30,000 people a day during the Christmas season. And we used to go in there for 3 weeks, put up a display, get massive amounts of exposure. For photography, it's important because we're very visual. It might not work to the same degree if you're a plumber, unless you have a really cool offer or something really cool or a cool personality that people really connect with. But you got to find ways to be relevant. But a display is very well suited for photographers, and that's why it works so well in social media. So I use social media a lot. The third level is big media, radio, TV, or print. Newspaper, magazine ads, television ads, radio ads. Now, these are very expensive, and I've done them before. I think they're good to do if you have a solid base and or a solid base, and you're running a time-limited promotion. Radio in particular is pretty powerful. And, well, so's print, so's TV. But again, it's very expensive. I'm going to put billboards in there too. And it's good for image ads. Now, the problem with image ads, and this is what happens, back to my original comment earlier, when I said the biggest mistake that people make is they skip the first step and the second step, and they jump straight to media. So if you got a successful company and you decided for whatever reason to do some advertising, you could be easily swayed by the sales rep who shows up and says, look, we got this promotion. It's going to cost you $7,000 over the next 3 months. You're going to be on TV. Woohoo! See? Image. And we're going to run image ads. Have you seen most ads at big media? Most of them, I would say 95 to 98% are empty. They're image ads. And they're very expensive. And that's fine if you got the money. But you want to be careful. You don't want to skip the first 2 steps. Especially if you're starting out and you want to be lean and mean. But if you want your marketing and advertising to be very, very responsible, at the 3rd level, media, which is big, expensive, is not responsible. It's just image ads. It just creates a certain... I find it really almost insulting, some of the ads that are used that are trying to be funny or witty. I mean, the funny and witty ads don't work. They just simply do not work. So you want to be aware of these things. And it's easy. It's very easy to argue on behalf of image ads. You're going to be on TV. Whoa, it's got this like magic genie aura to it. And so many business owners I've talked to have tried that and come back and said it doesn't work. No, you did it wrong. Could work. Anyways, so the big media triggers a feel-good approach. I mean, man, look at me. I'm on TV. Yeah. And the message gets muddled, and that's the big mistake. So, all right, I'm out of here. The summary, find your target market. If you do not have a market, you don't have a business. So there's 5 ways to find them. I mentioned that. Watch the video. Second step is your message. Create a message that is irresistible. And if you're in a commodity, if your business is a commodity, you got to find ways to package and bundle and create a brand that people will step up to and purchase. And then the 3rd step, which I just talked about, is media. You have to follow those 3 steps in order. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you very much.